All right, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about building something absolutely essential in the digital world, a digital fortress. We're not just going to list off a bunch of security projects. No, we're going to give you the actual blueprint for how you can protect your most valuable digital stuff. So let's get into it.
So let me ask you a question, and it's one that probably keeps a lot of people up at night. Is your data really safe? In a world that's just filled with constant threats and vulnerabilities and cyber attacks, how can you ever be sure? That feeling of uncertainty is very real. But the answer isn't just to cross your fingers and hope for the best. The answer is to build. And this is what we build with. Technology security projects. These are our bricks and mortar. They're the tools, the plans, and the strategies that we use to put up our defenses. They are the absolute essential initiatives that take a vulnerable outpost and turn it into a hardened, secure fortress. So where do we start? Well, you don't just start laying bricks at random, right? Every great building starts with a solid plan. And for us, that's the security blueprint. It sets the foundation for everything, and I mean everything that comes after. Think about it. Before you can build anything, you need two things. You need the architectural plans to guide you, and you need to know the local building codes you have to follow. In the world of cybersecurity, these are our frameworks and our compliance standards. They give us the structure and the rules for the whole project. Now, it's really important to get the difference between these two. A framework, like the one from NIST, is kind of like your architect's guide. It helps you look at what you've got and figure out how to improve it. But a standard, like ISO 27001, that's more like getting an official certificate from the city, proving your building is safe and totally up to code. You really need both, but they do different jobs.
And then you have the building codes that are just not optional. If you're handling personal data from people in the EU, you have to follow GDPR, period. If you're in the US healthcare space, you live and breathe by HIPAA. These aren't suggestions, They are the absolute laws of the land you're building on.
Okay, so we've got our blueprint. Now comes the really cool part, actually constructing the fortress itself. We're talking about putting up the walls that are going to repel attacks, the gates that control who gets in, and the watchtowers to spot trouble from a mile away. First things first, the very first layer of any decent defense is the perimeter. You need strong walls and you need secure gates to create a really clear boundary between the trusted world inside and the untrusted world outside. It is all about controlling who and what gets in.
This is where projects like firewall enhancements come into play. Your firewall is like the main outer wall of your whole fortress, and you have to constantly upgrade it to fight off new types of attacks. And network segmentation? Oh, this is brilliant. It's like building internal walls inside the castle. So even if an attacker gets past that first big wall, they're trapped in one small area, and they can't get to the really important stuff.
Now, let's talk about the gates. Single sign-on, or SSO, that's like giving all your citizens one master key that opens only the doors they're supposed to go through. It's super convenient and it's secure. But what about the keys to the kingdom? The admin accounts. That's where Privileged Access Management, or PAM, steps in. It keeps an iron grip on who can use those master keys, because in the wrong hands, they can unlock literally everything.
Having strong walls is awesome, but it's not enough. You can't just sit back and wait to get hit. You need to be able to see threats coming from a distance. You need watchtowers, a high vantage point to see everything that's happening both outside and inside your fortress. And this is where security gets really, really clever. Your CM platform is like your team of guards up in that watchtower. They're not just watching one road, they are watching everything. And its real magic is how it connects the dots. It might see a weird login from another country, an unusual file being accessed, and a big data transfer, all at once. And it pieces it all together to spot a sophisticated attack that you would have otherwise completely missed. It's a total game changer.
And hey, we can't forget that in our modern world of remote work, our fortress has thousands of potential little doors. Every single laptop, every phone. So Endpoint Detection and Response, or EDR, puts a smart, dedicated guard at every single one of those doors, ready to shut down threats right there on the device. And Mobile Device Management, MDM. That's the person making sure every phone and tablet is properly armored and playing by the rules.
The whole technology landscape is always changing. So our fortress can't be some ancient, static castle. It has to be able to adapt to new terrain, like the cloud, and new ways of building things, like rapid software development.
And this is how we do it. Cloud Access Security Brokers, or CASBs, they act like security checkpoints between your people and that vast, sometimes sketchy world of cloud services.
And DevSecOps, that's a huge shift in thinking. It's not about tacking on security at the end. It's about weaving security right into the DNA of the development process, making sure every new thing you build is secure from the ground up. Look, even the most impenetrable fortress can be breached. A smart ruler doesn't just plan for how to win, they plan for disaster. And that means having a crystal clear incident response plan, basically your fire drill, and solid data backup and recovery so you can rebuild fast if the absolute worst happens.
So far, we've talked a lot about technology, right? Walls, gates, watchtowers. But we've forgotten the most important, and often the most vulnerable part of our fortress, the people inside. The tech is the walls, but the people, they're the guards.
And this quote really says it all, doesn't it? You can build the highest walls, the strongest gates, but one distracted guard can just leave a door unlocked and undermine the entire thing. Your people are truly your first and your last line of defense.
And if you need any proof of how powerful training is, just look at this. Before training, the number of people clicking on a fake phishing link is dangerously high. But after training, it just plummets. This is how you take your biggest potential weakness and turn it into one of your greatest strengths.
Of course, a change like that doesn't just happen by magic. It takes real, dedicated projects. You need comprehensive security awareness programs to teach people what to look for. And then you need regular phishing simulations. Those are the drills that build muscle memory, so defending against them becomes second nature.
Okay, our fortress is built. The walls are up, the guards are trained. So, we're done, right? Not even close. A fortress is never, ever finished. Security isn't a one-time project. It's a permanent state of being. It is an ongoing watch.
And that maintenance is this constant cycle. You're always assessing new risks, you're scanning and patching vulnerabilities, you're running tests to actively try and break in to find weak spots, and you're reviewing all your rules. And then the whole cycle just starts over again. It's all about constant vigilance.
And why is all that constant effort so important? It all comes down to this number, 1. That's it. It only takes one unpatched computer, one stolen password, one person clicking the wrong link. Just one weak link is all it takes to bring the entire fortress down.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question. We've gone through the blueprint, the walls, the watchtowers, and the guards. Now that you know all the pieces, what's the weakest link in your digital fortress?